This is Booked for Drama, where stories burn, hearts break, the tea is always hot and never a part two. Today we're diving into Rebirth of Vengeance, I Turned My Back. Let's go. Chapter 1. I was born with a medicinal constitution. My blood could cure all illnesses. In my previous life, I, Victoria Baldridge, had cured the paralyzed legs of Richard Thaddeus, a wealthy young man from Scotland's elite circle. Only after the treatment did I learn that the Thaddeus family had once declared whoever cured Richard Thaddeus would become the mistress of Thaddeus. So, he was forced to marry me. Scarlett Mackenzie, the woman who had once climbed mountains to pick a snow lotus for him, heard the news and in a moment of distraction, fell off a cliff and vanished without a trace. A year later, Richard found her frozen body. He forced me to slit my wrist to save her. If Scarlett had picked the snow lotus to heal me, we would have grown old together. It was you who killed her. Victoria, didn't you say your blood is divine medicine? Then bring her back to life. I cried and begged him. She's been dead for a year. I can cure illness, not raise the dead. But Richard didn't listen. He watched coldly as I bled to death. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day I was invited to treat Richard. He sat in his wheelchair, expression dark and brooding. I smiled faintly. Mr. Thaddeus's legs are crippled. No one can cure them. His head jerked up, eyes blazing with fury. You worthless, get the hell out. I turned to a woman beside me, Diana Thaddeus, unfazed. Madam, if the Baldridge family says an illness cannot be cured, then there's truly no hope. You may want to consider having another child while you're still young. Richard hurled the teacup in his hand at me. I sidestepped. The porcelain shattered on the floor with a sharp crash. Startled, his father, Anthony Thaddeus, hurried to apologize. Miss Baldridge, I'm sorry. Richard is just frustrated because of his condition. I waved it off. Understandable. It's normal for a paralyzed man to have a twisted mind. Richard trembled with rage. I turned and left without looking back. Diana chased after me. Miss Baldridge, is there truly no other way? I've heard your long history family has a secret technique that cures any illness. If you can heal my son's legs, we will grant any request you make. But it wasn't that he couldn't be healed. It was that I wouldn't heal him. In my past life, he blamed Scarlett's death on me, convinced that if she had returned with the snow lotus, it would have restored his legs. If he'd used a shred of reason, he would have realized the snow lotus was merely a tonic. Its so-called miracle effects were nothing more than exaggerated tales. After learning I had used my own blood in the medicine, he didn't hesitate to watch me die, just to save Scarlett. Before I died, I overheard the truth from the servants. Scarlett didn't fall from the cliff while picking the snow lotus. She had given up on marrying into the Thaddeus family and found another suitor. But the man's legal wife discovered her and pushed her off the cliff. This life, I would no longer be tangled in their mess. Let them live and die together, as they wished. Mr. Thaddeus' legs are beyond my ability to heal. Richard followed me out, his voice low and full of suppressed anger. Mom, Scarlett has already gone to the snow-capped mountains. Once she brings back the snow lotus, my legs will be cured. My affairs don't concern outsiders. Diana sighed heavily. The snow lotus may help restore your strength, but to truly stand again, it won't be enough. Victoria's is your last hope. Richard remained stubborn. I said, Scarlett will cure me. I looked deeply at Richard, then turned to Diana. Chapter 2. Just as I stepped out of the Thaddeus family's grand front gates, a sleek black business car pulled up beside me. A woman stepped out and, to my surprise, knelt in front of me. Miss Baldridge, please save my son. I recognized her, Laura Caldwell of the Caldwell family. It turned out that during the car accident a year ago, not only was Richard severely injured, but so was his longtime rival, Maximus Caldwell. Since then, Max had been left in a half-dead, vegetative state. But after the tragic end of my previous life, I no longer offered my blood so freely. I refused Laura's desperate plea. She didn't beg further. Instead, she wiped her tears silently and left with dignity. A week later, I received an invitation to a banquet at the Thaddeus residence. Scarlett had returned with the legendary snow lotus. Diana, wary of the authenticity of the medicine, asked me to attend and verify it. At the banquet, Scarlett clung tightly to Richard's side, not moving an inch. Diana pulled me aside, her expression sorrowful. I'm not afraid that the snow lotus won't work. I'm afraid of giving Richard false hope again. He's been disappointed so many times. I've watched the light in his eyes dim day by day. As a mother, it breaks my heart. I don't know what else to do. Before I could offer any words of comfort, Scarlett pushed Richard's wheelchair toward us. Diana, don't worry. I'll definitely help Richard to walk again. I nearly died in the snowy mountains to bring back this snow lotus. Richard looked at her, eyes filled with emotion, and gripped her hand tightly. Scarlett, when I stand again, I'll throw the most magnificent wedding for you. I believe in you. Then Scarlett turned to look at me, her smile laced with subtle malice. I'm not like those so-called miracle doctors. I know I can cure Richard's legs. Her words caused a stir. Several renowned physicians who had treated Richard before turned visibly sour. Miss Mackenzie, aren't you being a bit too bold? You dare challenge our diagnoses without any medical background? Even Miss Baldridge of the esteemed medical family has said Richard's condition is incurable. And you, a young girl with no training, claim otherwise? Although Richard felt Scarlett had spoken rashly, he still stood by her. I trust her. She can cure me. I couldn't help but laugh. Scarlett mistook my amusement as mockery. Her eyes narrowed, but she forced a smile. Miss Baldridge, I've heard you're the most gifted healer of your generation. But you turned down both the Thaddeus and Caldwell families. It's hard not to wonder, maybe you're not as skilled as everyone claims. I smiled calmly. Then I look forward to the day Miss Mackenzie helps Mr. Thaddeus walk again. My serenity only made her more agitated. She bit her lip. You think I'm stealing your spotlight, don't you? I know Diana likes you and once hoped you'd marry Richard. But now, I'm the only one who can cure him. Still seated in his wheelchair, Richard sneered. Miss Baldridge, even if you had the ability to heal me, I would never agree to marry you. When my mother first introduced you, I thought you were someone impressive. But clearly, you're just a fraud. Let me make one thing clear, the only woman I love is Scarlett. If I don't marry her in this life, I'll marry no one. Even if you stood before me 3 times, I wouldn't spare you a second glance. Watching them perform their duet of affection and disdain, I felt only irritation. Your mother invited me here to evaluate Miss Mackenzie medicine. But since you have such unwavering faith in her, there's no need for me to interfere. Chapter 3. Just as I turned to leave, Scarlett suddenly reached out to block my path. Victoria, what do you mean by that? Frowned. Exactly what it sounds like. If you don't understand, feel free to check the dictionary. Scarlett scoffed coldly. Do you dare to make a bet with me? Let's see which of us can cure Richard's legs. The loser kneels, admits defeat publicly and is never allowed to set foot in the city again. I paused in my step, then slowly turned to face her. I'll take your bet, but not by treating Richard. I'll treat Maximus Caldwell. Her expression changed. In 10 days, we'll see if you can make Richard stand or if I can make Max wake up. Dare to bet, Miss Mackenzie? The room erupted with gasps. Isn't Max in a vegetative state? That's way harder than fixing Richard's legs. Honestly, if the Caldwell family hadn't poured millions into life support, he'd be long gone. If Miss Baldridge pulls this off, it'll be a miracle in medical history. 10 days? That's impossible. Amid the murmurs, Scarlett's eyes gleamed with excitement. Fine. With all these people as witnesses, Victoria, don't try to back out when you lose. I nodded calmly. I won't lose. Richard let out a cold, mocking laugh. Max is already a dead man. You couldn't even treat my legs and now you're trying to bring someone like him back? Victoria, admit losing now and maybe I'll consider not punishing you. I glanced briefly at his legs. Richard, remember, medicine can be as poisonous as it is healing. Be careful. With Scarlett's superior skills, she might just make your. With that, I turned and left. In my previous life, Scarlett was nothing more than a finance graduate with no medical background. Her parents were ordinary workers. The idea that she could cure paralysis? Silly. That night, word of our wager spread like wildfire across the city. Someone even opened a public betting pool. Richard staked 10 million on Scarlett to encourage her victory. The next morning, Laura came to personally pick me up. At the hospital, I took out the blood-infused medicine I'd prepared, gently lifted Maximus' head and fed it to him. 7 days. That's all it would take for him to wake up. Miss Baldridge, thank you. Whether Max wakes up or not, our family will never forget this favor. Laura's voice trembled. Whatever you need, just say the word. If it's within our power, it's yours. She moved as if to kneel again, but I caught her quickly. Laura, I'm not doing this for a reward. I only want to win. You don't need to worry. I will bring your son back. Tears welled in her eyes. I heard about your bet with Scarlett. The Caldwell family is backing you with 10 million. When the time comes, the winnings and interest will be yours. Don't refuse. You've earned it. Just as I was about to respond, I saw Scarlett approaching, pushing Richard in his wheelchair. She stopped in front of us and sneered. So, this is why you offered to help Max. You've got your eyes on the Caldwell family's money. Then she stepped forward and grabbed Laura's arm, her tone turning sweet and false. Laura, don't be fooled. This woman couldn't even cure Richard's legs. How could she possibly wake Max? Don't end up losing both your money and your son. Laura shook her off coldly. I believe in her. Scarlett, this doesn't concern you. Rejected so plainly, Scarlett pouted, visibly upset. Chapter 4. I'm just kindly reminding you. Seeing the tears welling in Scarlett's eyes, Richard's heart softened. Laura, we both have known Scarlett for years. You should believe us. Victoria is a fraud. You mustn't let her treat Max. I raised my hand to stop Laura from speaking on my behalf, my gaze falling on Richard's legs. Richard, haven't you noticed? Your legs have atrophied even more than before. Instinctively, Richard pulled his trench coat over his legs to hide them. What nonsense are you spouting? After taking Scarlett's medicine, my legs have improved. A flicker of panic flashed in Scarlett's eyes. She stepped in front of him. Stop talking nonsense. You know nothing. This is just a normal reaction to the medicine. In a few more days, Richard will be able to stand. You should focus on saving Maximus instead of meddling in others' business. I smiled but said nothing. That same day, after gave Max the blood medicine, Diana sent me a video of Scarlett preparing her so-called remedy. Among the rare herbs, she added a few drops of an unknown liquid from an unlabeled bottle. Just then, a sudden movement came from the hospital bed. I quickly stood and approached. Mr. Caldwell, you're awake, Victoria? He blinked, looking into my face as he called my name. I was momentarily stunned. You recognize me? Before he could answer, Laura burst in and rushed to her son, tears flowing as she embraced him tightly. I stepped outside to give them space. No sooner had I left than another video from Diana arrived. This time, showing Richard's legs visibly more shriveled. It had to be that unknown liquid Scarlett had added. In my previous life, Scarlett had clung to the belief that the snow lotus could cure him. Now, wondered, after realizing that Scarlett's cure had destroyed his legs, would he still treasure her and dream of growing old together? Over the next few days, Max diligently performed rehabilitation exercises. By the 10th day of our bet, he could already walk. When we entered the Thaddeus family's grand banquet hall, the entire city elite had gathered. Everyone was watching. Gasps rippled through the room as they saw us. Is that Maximus Caldwell? Am I seeing things? He's awake? But I bet 5 million on Scarlett. The Baldridge family really lives up to their reputation. Every hospital said he was hopeless, yet she cured him. Scarlett turned pale, stunned as she stared at me. You actually made Max wake up? I gave a cold laugh. You lost. It's time to honor our bet, isn't it? All eyes turned to her. Miss Mackenzie, a bet is a bet. Time to kneel and admit defeat. Come on, you agreed. After that, it's goodbye to the capital. Scarlett looked toward the second floor, her expression tight with panic. Quote, just as she was about to kneel, a voice rang out from above. Who said we lost? Everyone turned. Richard stood tall at the top of the stairs, fully upright. Oh my God, his legs. He's standing? Could it be? Scarlett really cured him? Even Victoria said it was hopeless. If both are cured, who actually wins this bet? Scarlett lifted her chin with pride. Did you see that? Richard is standing now. Richard looked down at me with disdain. Victoria, you claimed no one could cure me. But here I am, standing in front of you, perfectly fine. Still not ready to admit you're just a fraud? I shook my head calmly. Richard, maybe your legs could have been saved before. But now? They're truly beyond hope. His expression darkened instantly, teeth clenched. Victoria, let's see how long you can keep babbling. As soon as the words left his lips, he lifted his foot and stepped down the stairs. I silently counted in my heart. 1, 2, 3, 10. A loud thud echoed through the hall. Richard collapsed to his knees, then tumbled down the stairs in a heap. A nearby guest screamed in shock. Ah, what happened to his legs? Chapter 5. His pant legs had torn open on the stairs, exposing a horrifying sight. The crowd gasped. His legs, they're horrible. Weren't they fine just a minute ago? It's like the bones have turned to mush, completely gone. Where's Scarlett? Didn't she say he was cured? Richard lays on the floor, wailing in agony, but no one dared to go near him. Scarlett stood frozen, her face as pale as paper. Her voice trembled. How could this happen? He was clearly standing just now. At that moment, Diana stormed into the banquet hall, having heard the commotion. Her gaze fell on Richard's mangled legs. With a furious slap, she struck Scarlett across the face. Scarlett, you promised me you could cure him. Look at what you've done. If anything happens to his legs, one won't let you off easily. Guard. Lock her up, don't let her escape. 2 bodyguards stepped forward, grabbed Scarlett by the arms and began dragging her out. She thrashed and cried out to Richard. Richard, save me, I don't know what happened. I never meant to hurt you. You can't just abandon me like this, say something. But Richard was too overwhelmed with pain and humiliation to respond. The bodyguards silenced Scarlett, then carried her away. Diana turned to me, eyes filled with desperation. Miss Baldridge, please, what do we do now? Is there any way to save his legs? I let out a long sigh. It's too late, take him to the hospital and amputate. At least that way, his life might still be saved. At my words, Diana's eyes rolled back and she fainted on the spot. Richard lifted his head, struggling to speak. No, I won't accept it. I refuse to amputate. Victoria, you're doing this to get back at me. I won't let you win. I dare anyone to try taking me to the hospital. I laughed coldly. You think I'm taking revenge? You overestimate yourself. Deep down, you know exactly what Scarlett gave you. Live or die, it has nothing to do with me. Without another word, I turned and left. Max, who had been silent all along, followed after me. Miss Baldridge, did you already know Richard's legs would end up like this? I met his searching gaze, then lowered mine coldly. Are you blaming me for not warning him? He hurried to explain. No, that's not what I meant. He and I are enemies, seeing him like this actually makes me happy. I'm just curious. How were you so sure something would go wrong? Miss Baldridge, I didn't mean to sound accusing. My tone was off, that's all. I snorted at his flustered apology. Chapter 6. Relax, I believe you. I continued. Diana showed me a video of Scarlett preparing the medicine. One of the liquids she used had no label. I wasn't sure at first. But when I saw Richard suddenly standing up, I guessed what it was: eroded butterfly water. It temporarily restores paralyzed limbs by accelerating cell activity, but within minutes, it begins to rot the body from the inside. Max's brow furrowed. So, Scarlett meant to hurt him? I shook my head slowly. I don't know if she's unbelievably stupid, or if someone used her. He didn't ask further and silently offered to drive me home. As I stepped out of the car, my phone rang. Diana again. Miss Baldridge, could you please come to the hospital? I don't know who else to ask. Richard's furious voice shouted in the background. I said I'm not amputating. Stop listening to that fraud, Victoria. My legs can be saved. Scarlett said this is just a phase. Once my bones and flesh remodel, I'll be able to walk again. It was just a fluke, I fell too quickly, that's all. Diana's anxious, tearful voice followed. Richard, even the hospital doctors say this is urgent. If we delay, you might not survive. Please, listen to your mother and get the surgery. Then came the sound of glass shattering. Diana pleaded with me again. Miss Baldridge, the doctors aren't confident. I'm begging you, please just come and take a look. I'm waiting for you at the hospital. Max, who hadn't left yet, accompanied me. Halfway there, he finally asked, are you going to save him? I rolled down the window, letting the cold wind hit my face. No, I just want to see what he looks like when he's worse than dead. Max's hands jerked slightly on the steering wheel. You hate him? As far as I know, you two don't have any real enmity. A cold smile tugged at my lips. He owes me his life. Then I closed my eyes and rested, and Max, seeing that I wasn't ready to explain, stayed silent. When we arrived at the hospital, Richard had already kicked all the doctors out of the ward. Diana stood outside, eyes swollen from crying. Miss Baldridge, could you help me convince him to get the surgery? I would, but I'm the last person he wants to see. No matter what I say, he'll think I'm trying to harm him. I sighed. Doesn't he trust Scarlett? Maybe you should ask her to talk to him. The mere mention of Scarlett made Diana grit her teeth. But with no other choice, she called for her guard to bring Scarlett in. Soon, Scarlett knelt by Richard's bedside, crying uncontrollably. Richard, does it hurt? I really don't know what went wrong. The medicine should have worked. Richard reached out to comfort her, but the movement tugged on his lower body. He went pale from the pain. After several deep breaths, he spoke again. Scarlett, you said I wouldn't need an amputation. That it's just remodeling, right? Scarlett glanced at his mangled, blood-soaked legs. She remembered Diana's warning and the doctor's assessment. She bit her lip, voice trembling. Richard, you should listen to the doctors. Your legs might really not be salvageable. Richard stared into her eyes, unblinking. Chapter 7. Scarlett, do you know what you're saying? Didn't you swear you could cure my leg? I've been applying the medicine exactly as you instructed. Why am I suddenly being told my leg must be amputated? Scarlett didn't dare meet Richard's questioning gaze. Her expression stiffened and her fingers clenched the edge of the bed. Seeing her like this, disbelief flickered in Richard's eyes. Could it really be as Victoria said? Was it you who made me end up like this, Scarlett? Why, it wasn't me, Richard. I didn't hurt you. Scarlett's small face flushed red with anxiety. She abruptly stood up and pointed at me in accusation. It must be you who tampered with the medicine, Victoria. You can't stand seeing Richard and me together, so you want us to lose everything. Victoria, how could you be so vicious? Just because Richard doesn't want to marry you, you try to kill him? I was dumbfounded. Scarlett, speak with evidence. Ever since the bet, I haven't even stepped foot into the Thaddeus. When could I have tampered with your medicine? And I never said I wanted to marry Richard. That's all just your own wishful thinking. But Scarlett persisted, gritting her teeth and accusing me. Everyone knows that as soon as you heard about Richard's paralysis, you rushed to the Thaddeus household instead of going home. How do you explain that? That was because Richard had saved me when I was a child. Had only wanted to return the favor by curing him. But in this life, I had already refused to treat him. I had repaid that debt with my life in the past. I curled my lip. Do you understand the benevolence of a healer? Anyone who sincerely seeks treatment from me, I'll do my best to heal. Don't blame your poor medical skills on me. Scarlett clenched her fists in fury. Victoria, you're the one who tampered with the medicine. You're the reason Richard lost his legs. Enough. Richard suddenly roared, cutting her off. What's the point of arguing now? Mom, notify the doctor to proceed with the surgery. Seeing Richard finally relent, Diana rushed off to call the doctor. As the doctor wheeled Richard toward the operating room, Max suddenly stepped forward and tore the bracelet from his wrist. Richard, it's time to return what you stole. Richard shot him a venomous glare. Max, don't get cocky just yet. A chill ran down my spine as I stared at the bracelet clutched in Max's hand. Could it be? Max was the one who saved me back then? When I was 6, I'd been kidnapped with a boy who later escaped with me. He hid me in a box and distracted the kidnappers himself. I gave him this bracelet as a token, promising we'd meet again after escaping. But right after I was rescued, my family sent me abroad. I was gone for 15 years. Until I saw Richard's photo in the news and recognized the bracelet on his wrist. But the real owner was Max. So, in my past life, I mistook my savior and paid with my life. Max's eyes glinted coldly. Did you think I didn't come after you because I didn't know the truth about the car accident? Once you survive this surgery, we'll settle the score. Richard, I hope you can still act so arrogant in the future. After Richard was wheeled into surgery, Max and I sat in the lobby to wait. Chapter 8. I stared at the bracelet on Max's hand and finally asked, Max, it was you who saved me back then, wasn't it? Max smiled bitterly. Victoria, you finally remembered. Did you mistake Richard for me because of this bracelet? No wonder you never recognized me. I explained, it was too dark. I couldn't see your face clearly. But how did this bracelet end up with Richard? Rage flickered in Max's eyes. The Thaddeus and Caldwell families have always been at odds. Richard and I never got along. He saw me wearing the bracelet often and stole it. I thought I lost it by accident. I never imagined he would take it. Hatred surged within me. If Richard hadn't stolen the bracelet, I wouldn't have gone through that misery in my previous life. Fortunately, the heavens gave me a second chance. I asked again, what did you mean about the car accident? Max exhaled slowly before answering. At the time, the Caldwell and Thaddeus families were competing for the same overseas project. I was on the verge of closing the deal. But Richard pulled a dirty trick and orchestrated a car accident to delay me. He didn't expect a runaway truck to actually hit us. Because of my accident, the Caldwell family lost the project. Though Richard won, he also lost his legs. Then, he suddenly took my hand. Victoria, I'm lucky to have you. Thank you for curing me and giving me a second chance at life. His burning gaze made me blush. I tried to pull my hand away, but he held it tightly. Victoria, it's over. The surgery is done. Diana's voice interrupted him. She rushed over. Miss Baldridge, come and see if the surgery was successful. I quickly withdrew my hand and followed her. Richard lay unconscious under anesthesia. Looking at his amputated lower limbs, I couldn't help but anticipate his reaction when he woke. From what I knew of him in my past life, someone as arrogant as him, now truly crippled, would find life worse than death. After he woke, Scarlett didn't rush to him. She had changed. Her once adoring gaze was now full of fear and disgust. Still, Richard called to her, Scarlett, even if you couldn't cure me, I'll keep my promise. When I'm discharged, I'll hold a grand wedding and make you the happiest bride. But Scarlett didn't look joyful. She stepped back. Richard, your health is the priority. Let's talk about the wedding later. Richard's face darkened. Scarlett, are you disgusted by me? Before she could respond, Diana, who had just gotten off the phone, kicked her furiously. Scarlett, the lab results are back. That bottle of medicine had eroded butterfly water, a poison that causes body rot. You're the one who crippled Richard. Why, Mom, there must be a mistake. Scarlett wouldn't harm me, Richard insisted, staring at Scarlett. Chapter 9. Scarlett, tell me, what's going on? Scarlett froze. Her pupils contracted and she muttered in a daze. How could the butterfly etching water be poisonous? He told me it would heal your leg. How could he lie to me? There must be a mistake. I didn't do this, it wasn't me. Richard could no longer lie to himself. So, it really was you. Scarlett, you actually did this to me. With the truth exposed, Richard became a true invalid. Max and I took our leave, giving the Thaddeus family space to handle their issues. In the next 2 months, Max found every excuse to meet with me. One day, he brought new information about Richard. It turned out Scarlett never went to the snowy mountains for Snow Lotus. Instead, she spent a month with a fraudster, hoping for a miracle cure. That fraud was someone Richard had offended. He used Scarlett to take revenge. When Richard found out, they fought bitterly. In a rage, Scarlett screamed, "You're a cripple, no, who would want you besides me? If I'd known I couldn't cure you, I'd have found someone else already. You still have the nerve to scold me? You should face reality. Everyone calls you disabled Thaddeus now." Enraged, Richard hit her. Scarlett fled and quickly found a new benefactor. But she was beaten and sent back to the Thaddeus household in disgrace. This time, Richard snapped. He locked Scarlett in and tortured her. Eventually, Scarlett lost her mind and attacked Richard, sending him to the hospital. Diana had her committed to a mental institution. I had mixed feelings hearing all this. Was this the ending Richard had wanted in his past life? During this time, I gradually came to rely on Max. Our shared past drew us together. 3 months later, he proposed, holding a bouquet of roses. "Victoria, I saved you as a child. You saved me now. It's fate. Will you marry me?" I was moved to tears and just about to say, "I do," when an angry roar interrupted us. "She won't marry you." Richard wheeled himself over, desperation in his eyes. "Victoria, don't marry him. I remember everything now. I was wrong in our past life. I know that. Will you give me another chance?" I froze. He had been reborn too. Max shielded me. "Richard, what nonsense are you spouting? I haven't even dealt with you for what you did. How dare you show your face?" Richard looked past him and into my eyes. "Victoria, I know you were reborn too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have let me die in this life. I know you resent and hate me. It's all my fault. But I regret it, everything. I regret not cherishing you. I regret how I treated you. I've loved you all along. I just didn't realize it. Please, give me another chance." I looked at him coldly. "Richard, what are you regretting? Isn't this the ending you wanted in your last life?" Chapter 10. I never loved you. If you hadn't stolen Max's bracelet and made me mistake you for life. I took Max's hand and turned to leave. Richard hurriedly wheeled after us, only to hit a stone and fall hard to the ground. "Victoria, please, give me another chance." I didn't turn back. I only walked faster. Later, I told Max everything about my past life. He was furious and punched the wall. I would never have tried to save you in my last. "Victoria, it's all because I didn't protect that bracelet. You suffered so much because of it. I'll repay every bit of that pain to Richard." But before Max could act, Richard kidnapped me. My limbs were tied. I couldn't move. "Victoria, I know I was wrong. Why won't you forgive me? Why stay with Max? Don't you know how much I hate him? You gave him your blood to save him, but let me become a cripple." Richard sat in his wheelchair, his face twisted with madness. "But I won't blame you. You only hate me because you love me. This time, I'll protect you. We'll live happily ever after, just like before. Your blood can heal me, right? When I stand again, I'll give you a grand wedding and we'll have children. Sons like me, daughters like you." I trembled in fear. "Richard, calm down. Your legs were amputated. I can't cure you. My blood isn't magic. Just let me go, we can pretend none of this happened." But he didn't hear me. He took out a knife, slowly approaching. "Victoria, this will hurt a little, but soon we'll be together again." Just as the blade neared my wrist, Max burst in and kicked him away. "Victoria, are you okay?" Tears streamed down my face. "Max, I was so scared. Don't be afraid. I'm here now. He untied me and led me away. Richard somehow mustered the strength to lift his upper body and tried to stab Max. Max dodged and Richard collapsed. The knife pierced his own chest. By the time he was rushed to the hospital, he was already dead. Diana shaved her head in mourning. Thaddeus Group's stock plummeted. The Caldwell Group seized the opportunity and took control, becoming the city's dominant power. Later, Max held the wedding of the century for me. In my past life, Richard never married me, never even gave me a decent ceremony. Everyone called me a disgrace. But in this life, I had the grandest wedding and the most loving husband. I became the envy of every socialite in the capital. As fireworks bloomed in the sky, Max cupped my face and kissed me. This time, I had found true happiness. The end, and that's a wrap on today's reading here at Booked for Drama. If you felt anything, rage, swoon, secondhand heartbreak, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your fellow drama lovers. If you have any requests, drop them in the comments. Until next time, keep reading, and keep the drama on the page.